Alright guys, I'm back. In this video we're going to finish the back box monitor for this pinball machine, and we're going to build the computer that I'm going to use to run everything and hook it up and see if everything's tested. If you watch my first video, I moved the power plug to the back of the monitor like I was talking about, and here I got in the right angle adapter for this VGA. If you look at the bottom, I had to remove one of the screw prongs to hold it in place because it was touching the top, but other than that it fits good. Also, I cut the hole in the plastic here. This is where you'll see the score from the front side, so our second monitor is going to be covering this, so you'll be able to see through the front right there. We got everything wired up, got the speakers all hooked up. We're going to build the computer, test everything, and then I'll come back and do some cable management and get all this stuff out the way. So this monitor is gonna go right in place like that. See, it's touching, it's resting right on there, which kind of takes some pressure off this too, so that's good. We have all the wires ran, so let's get to making the computer. Alright, we just finished getting the computer together that we're going to use inside the pinball machine. My homeboy Stefan hooked me up with this. I'll go through the specs, show you what it has. This is a FX 8350 processor. It's an 8-core AMD. It should be plenty to run the pinball program. And we have 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's a DDR3 in this, I believe. And for the graphics, I'm going with a GTX 1050 that I just happen to have sitting around. So this computer unit is actually a lot faster than the one I had in my original pinball build. In the original pinball build, I had a Phenom 2 quad-core AMD processor, which is super old. I mean, late 90s probably. It had 4 gigabytes of RAM, and for the video card in that other one I was using a 550 Ti, so this rig here is 3 or 4 times better than the PC I was using in the original pinball cabinet, and it ran the games fine, so this should have no problem at all running the program. Looks like I'm going to be here a few more days, hours, decades installing this Windows on here. So once Windows gets installed, we'll install the pinball program and hook it to the monitors and give it a Alright guys, so I got the TVs hooked up to it. And if you see at the bottom here, that is a 55-inch flat screen, and then for that is the back glass that we've been working on. That's the 32-inch, and if you look at the bottom, that is the smaller 15-inch monitor. So that bottom section right there is going to be your score, back glass. This is going to be your playfield. The playfield TV I have hooked up with HDMI. The score screen is going to be DVI. I actually have that hooked from a DVI to the monitor, and then it goes into a DisplayPort adapter to hook to the graphics card, and our top screen is hooked with a VGA. If you look back here at, if you can see our video cord, we have all 3 ports hooked. So that's all set up. We come back, I'm gonna run through doing some programming, and we'll get the buttons mapped out. Alright, so we got everything hooked up. All 3 monitors are plugged. I'm going to kind of run you through the basics on how you get this going without going too much in detail. First, the most important part here is your monitor setup. So you want to go to your screen resolutions, and when you do this, for it to work correctly, hit identify, and it'll label your monitors for you. If you saw, my back glass is 3, the small monitor is 2, and my playfield is 1. Now your playfield monitor has to be all the way to the left of everything right there. If your playfield isn't number 1, isn't to the left of everything, it's not going to work. Now screen 2 and 3, it doesn't matter how you arrange those. 2 could be the back glass, or 3, it doesn't matter. As long as 1 is all the way to the left and it's your playfield. And you also want to make sure they're aligned with the height the same. If one's over the other one, it's going to throw you off. So once you have all that set up and you're good to go, I'm going to show you how to add new tables whenever you get everything set up. I'm not going to show you where to download them, so YouTube doesn't take the video down, but it's pretty simple to find tables. Just Google virtual pinball, you'll find everything you need. So basically the first thing you need is the table files itself. So you're going to go to wherever you install your visual pinball folder. Mine's just in the C drive. Then you're going to go to the table folder. Now what you need here, you're going to have a VPT file, which is the table itself. You want to copy that in there. And you're also going to have a direct B2S file. That is going to be your back image for your back box. So you want to copy that in the same file as your table. Now you want to make sure the table and the back glass have the same exact name before the file extension. In this case, they don't. My back glass is named Big Buck Hunter Pro Stern 2009, and the table itself is named Big Buck Hunter FS V9 version 2. So I'm going to copy from the B2S file and I'm going to paste it over the name for the actual table. So now you see both of them is going to be named the same. So that's the table and our back box image. So next you're going to need your ROM file, which is a bin file. That is going to go in your main pinball folder. So you're going to go back into Visual Pinball and you want to go into this folder right here, vpin main. And then you want to drop down till you see ROMs. And what you want to do is you want to copy the zip file of your ROM. Don't unzip it. You want to have the actual zip. Now you need to be careful with this too. You want to ensure that it's named correctly, because sometimes these aren't named right. If it's not named right, you'll know whenever you start the game you have an error saying that it can't find this ROM, and it'll tell you the name of the ROM. If that happens, all you have to do is go back into your ROMs folder and rename it to whatever it says it couldn't find. So that is everything for installing the table, and then we have to configure it. I'm not going to get into how to add the actual media for the front end just yet. We're going to wait till we install the front end for that. So once you have your ROM and you have your the table installed and you have the back glass, we're going to go ahead and launch the table. So we're going to go back to tables, we're going to find Big Buck Hunter, and we're going to double click the VPT file, and that is going to launch the table itself. When your table first launches, you'll see right here, you'll get this error message just saying that it's a ROM and you can't sell them in copyright and all that kind of stuff. You just go to OK and be done with that. As you see, we have our back screen is working and the table screen is working right. But if you notice, our DMD score is not where it needs to be. It's actually right there in the corner of the table, but that's not going to do. We're going to have to fix that. You have to do this every time you install a table. You have to go through this. So all you have to do is you have to click and hold down on the DMD and you just drag it to the screen you want. So I'm gonna position it on my third screen, but you see it's super tiny right there. Let me zoom in right here so you can see. See, it's small. It doesn't take up the whole screen. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click on that and do show Windows border, and that's gonna allow you to drag out to where you need to be. So you can drag out to fit your screen. So get a position where you want, and then you're gonna take that border away. Now another quick tip whenever you're doing this black on this screen is actually my Windows background. So when you do this, you really want to go in and set your backgrounds on all your screens to just plain black, because if it wasn't black you would see a border here around this DMD. Because if I stretch this image big enough to fit this square, because this is cut out and because this screen is a lot bigger than what this little hole is, you'll see, you know, depending on how you lean, you'll see a little bit of your background. So it's just easier to make the whole background black. That way you don't have to worry about stretching this to size, and it'll look good. So we'll have that done. Also, if you notice, they have this grill with some fake speakers right here on the back glass image. What that's for is if I was running 2 screens instead of 1 screen, I could actually put my DMD score right here, but it's just better with 3 screens. So what we're going to do here to fix that is we're going to right click, and it's going to bring up a menu box, and you just go to this drop down that says grill, and you're going to change it from standard to hidden, and we're going to save the settings, and it'll give you an arrow saying that, you know, it's not going to save this until you restart the machine. So that's no problem. Go to OK, go to close. So then what we want to do now, your final step is, because this is in cabinet mode, I have to change a setting. Now if you don't change this setting in cabinet mode, what will happen is your score screen on that DMD is going to move. So every time you restart the machine, you'll have to click and drag that score to the right screen. You don't want to do that. So you want to hit F1, and it's going to bring up this options, and right here it'll say cabinet mode, which you're probably not going to be able to see that on the camera. So you want to click the check on cabinet mode and press OK, and it's going to say, you know, it'll save that next time you start the program. So go ahead and hit OK. So that's pretty much all the setup you have to do for the table, but we have to restart the program for that to take effect. So we're going to go to escape, we're going to close out the editor, we're going to go ahead and close out our main screen, and we're going to reopen it. So that should save all of my settings. So we're going to load up, and everything will be right. You have your play field. My score screen stay where it needed to be. The speaker grill image on our back glass is now gone because we turned that off. So now you should be good to go. We'll be able to come over here and load it up. Now I haven't configured the buttons yet. We haven't got that far, so right now I'm just using the keyboard. When you do this to test, you hit 3 to enter the coin. You see it's adding credits like you were dropping quarters in the machine. And you're going to press 1 to start. And there we go, now we're running. So once you start the game, both shifts are going to be your paddles. So left shift, right shift. And enter is going to be your ball launch. So we can launch our ball. And you see it's good to go. So now this table is loaded into your setup, completely playable. All you would have to do now is add this to whatever front end you're using, which I'm going to show you how to do Pinball X in a later video, and you're good to go. Now we have Big Buck Hunter Pro added to our system, and you do that with every game. Whenever you add a game, you have to launch it, and you do the configuration one time, and you're set. So see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a quick run through on how the front end works, how you set that up, and what it does. So there's a couple of pinball front ends. I use Pinball X, that's the one I like. So you just download that and install it. It's pretty simple. You hit next a bunch of times, and all you really have to do is show it where your visual pinball install is, and it sets up everything else for you. So I showed you how to install a game in the last clip, so I'm going to show you how to do the media this time. Now, for each table you download, you're going to need 3 files. You're going to need a wheel image, which is pretty much just a logo for the machine, and you're going to need a back glass and table media. Now you could either do an image, just like a static picture, or you could do a video. I try to get videos whenever possible just because it looks better. So when you download your game, say Big Buck Hunter or something, because that's the one we installed on the table, and you get your media files, the first thing you want to do is come up to wherever you installed Pinball X at. I use the root of the C drive, and you want to go to Game Manager. And what this does, this handles everything that's in your database for that certain machine. So this is how it tells you what to do. So to add a new game, you just click on add a game here, and add another column like this that'll be blank, and you just go where it says game, you hit select, and you pick the game from the list. That list is going to show you everything that's in your table folder. So you pick the table you just added, you come to the X, and then it'll ask you if you want to save the database XML. But of course you want to save that, so that'll add the game to the list in your front end. Now once you do that, you need to handle the media situation. So you're going to go to your media folder. You want to drop all the way down to the visual pinball folder, and then you'll see all these other folders, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You put the back glass video in the back glass video folder. If you couldn't find the video and you only did the image, I mean, you put it in the back glass image folder. The same thing with the table. You have table video, table images. You want to use just the regular folder. The desktop folder is for like if you're just using one screen, but that's booty. So, and then your wheel images and wheel images, and when you just put your files in there. Now one thing I'll say is the media files is just like the table and the back glass file. You have to make sure everything's named the same. So the same thing we had to do with the table file and the back glass file. We had to copy the name and put it on our thing. You need to do that for your media files also. If the files have a slightly different name than what your table or your back glass is called, it's not going to load them correctly. So it's always easier to just copy and paste everything. Anyway, once you add that to your database, once you put your media in your media folder, you're ready to open Pinball X. Now once you get your table finished and you're ready to play, you want to put this Pinball X exe into the Windows startup folder, and that'll launch it whenever you launch Windows, because you don't want to have a mouse sticking out the ass of your pinball machines. You'll put that to launch at startup. So we'll go ahead and start Pinball X, and this is how it's gonna look. You got your back glass video and you got your playfield video. It kind of tells you the name of the game, and these are your wheel images right here. So you go through and just find whatever you want to play. I got a bunch of shit on here. Let's play Tales from the Crypt. That's one of my favorite machines. So you just press enter, and you got information, add to favorites, all that stuff, rating, blah blah blah. You just play the game. So think for it for a few seconds, and there it is. And it loads your table up. You don't have to go through all the bullshit. Everything's working. and when you're done with your table, you just exit, and it goes right back to the menu. So that's what the front end does. It just makes everything look pretty, and it's easier to pick what table you want to play and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it. All we have left to do is put this into the pinball machine. All the programming side's done. I have all the tables I want in here pretty much. So I got a pinball cabinet that was given to me. I just have to set up a time when I'm not at work to go pick it up. Once we get the cabinet in, I'll record, you know, gutting the cabinet and everything, and then installing all this stuff. Like the main thing on that is going to be this TV, the playfield TV. You have to take it apart. I'm going to take all of this metal surrounding off. All this is going to go, the speakers are going to come out, so it's just going to be the screen and the boards. That way you're not going to have this big fucking border around the base of your pinball machine. So we're going to take all that shit off. Anyway, whenever I get around to picking up the cabinet, the last video I'll shoot will be installing all this in the cabinet, and we still have to install the keyboard encoder and hook all the buttons up. So that'll be the last steps, and then this thing will be ready to play.